Namaste, welcome to Savi's Fashion Studio. I'm Savita. In this class, let's see how to make a woman's t-shirt in knit fabric, and I'll be drafting the pattern using the Richpeace CAD software. You can do the same manually also, but if you wish to practice on CAD, in the description we have given a link to the free version of this software. You can download it and practice, but as it is a free version, you cannot take a printout. You can only practice. In this class, we'll see how to draft the pattern on CAD and taking a printout on the plotter. If you want more information about this CAD software or plotter, you can write to us in the comments or you can email us. We will try our best to help you. And in the next part of this video, we'll see laying and cutting the fabric and finishing the t-shirt using a serger and flat lock machine. So let's start. In this video, let's see how to make a woman's t-shirt, and to draft the pattern, I'll be using this Richpeace CAD software, which is quite easy to use. Now you see a lot of tools here, but in this video, we'll be using only some of the tools and creating the pattern. First of all, we need to draw a rectangle, for which you can use this rectangle tool. However, we can also use this intelligent pen and draw a rectangle. This can also be used to draw a curve or a straight line. So I'll be using this tool. Now you can either click on the tool here or you can right click the mouse on the work area. Now some of the most frequently used tools can be customized here and stored so that it's handy. So I'll click on this intelligent pen. Now before actually drafting the pattern, let me show how to use this pen. So on the work area, you can left click the mouse and you see the symbol next to the cursor. It's a curve shape. You can draw the length of the line that you want and you can draw it in any direction. Now to complete the line, just click and right click. Okay. Now you can also draw a curve with minimum 3 points. So click, that is left click on the mouse, click again and right click to complete the curve. Again I start. Now if you right click the mouse, the symbol changes to a T. Now this means the line will only go straight horizontally or vertically, or you can draw at a 45-degree angle. You cannot draw in between and you cannot draw a curve. So to complete the line, left click, okay. Now to draw a rectangle using the same tool, click and without releasing the mouse, drag the mouse and then release. It will ask you for the measurements. Here you can enter your measurements and click on OK. So this is how this intelligent pen works. Now I'll be using this and let's draw the pattern. Now to erase all this, right click and select the eraser tool. It is also available here. Click on the eraser tool. You can delete the line one by one or you can select all and delete. Again, I'll select the intelligent pen and draw a rectangle. Click and drag. I'll give the length of the t-shirt as 26.5 inches and the width I'll give is quarter hip round plus half an inch ease, that is 11.25. Okay. Now to zoom, you can scroll the mouse. Now the pattern I'm drafting is similar to what you have learned in manual pattern drafting. The right side is the bottom hem of the t-shirt and the left side is the shoulder. So on the shoulder line, I'll click and type half the shoulder measurement, that's 7.5. Okay. Now here for the slope, I'll come down by 1 inch. Click and type 1. Okay. Now again, I'll mark the neck width. I'll click on this line and mark the neck width as 3.5. Okay. From here, I want to connect to the slope point. Now you see the symbol is T, so it's only going straight. So to change it, I'll right click the mouse. Now the symbol has changed to a curve. Now I can connect it to this point. Now it's connected, but to complete, you need to right click. Okay. Now I'll mark the neck depth for back. So I'll click on this line and type 1 inch. Okay. Now I want a straight line here. So I'll right click and change the symbol to T and mark the width as 3.5. Okay. And connect these 2 points. Okay. Now I've kept the depth as 1 inch, but we'll be adding half inch rib or neckband. So the finished depth would be half inch and the finished width would be 3 inch. I'm not keeping the neck very wide, but if you want, you can keep it wider. Now again for the front neck depth, I'll click on this line and mark the depth as 4 inches. Okay, now again I'll draw straight line for 3.5 inches. Okay, and then connect it here. Okay, now from here I'll mark the armhole depth. As you've learned in manual pattern making, we consider half the biceps measurement or arm round measurement. Plus you can add a little. I'll take half of the arm round measurement plus half an inch. So I'll click here and type as 7. Okay, now from here to here the distance is 7.5 inches and the chest round measurement plus ease I want is 10.5. So from here I'll draw a 3-inch line. Okay, so from this point to here is 10.5. Okay, now from the slope point I will draw a line connecting to this point. Now again I will right click and change to curve and click here and right click. Similarly from the neck width I'll connect to the back neck depth. Right click. Again from the neck width I'll connect to the front neck depth and right click. Now we'll turn these lines to smooth curves. Let me zoom this part. Okay, let's do the neckline first. Now to turn it to a curve, you need to right click and select the modify tool. You can also get this here. So click on this. Now click on this line twice and it will move. You can create multiple points and reshape. You can do it as many times as you want till it gets the right shape. Once done, click anywhere. So it's done. Now same for the back. I'll keep this last part a little straight. Okay. Now coming to the armhole. I'll click on this and draw a smooth curve. Okay, now I want the front armhole curve half an inch inwards. So what I'll do is I'll take the intelligent pen again, click and drag this line. So I'm creating a parallel line, and when I click it will ask me for the distance from the first line to the second line. I'll give it as 0.5. Okay, and automatically a center point is always created when you do a line. Now I'll draw from here to the center point and right click again from here to here and right click. Let me zoom this. Now I'll take the modify tool and create a smooth curve. Now you can remove the unwanted line by clicking on the eraser. Remove. Okay, now we'll draw the side seam line. So again I take the intelligent pen. Now here we'll draw the side seam. So from here I'll come down by around 7 inches. You can see the measurement as we move the cursor. And then continue the curve to this point. To complete, right click. Now I'll take the modify tool and you can reshape this. Now if you're making a loose fit t-shirt, you can keep this straight from chest to waist. For a regular fit, you can give slight shaping, and for slim fit, you can give even more shaping. So I'm just giving a slight shaping. Click anywhere and modify. Now here it has to go a little out. See if it looks fine. If not, you can further modify it. Okay, now you can keep the bottom hem as it is, that is straight, or you can give a shaping. I'll give a slight shape for that. Again, I'll click on this intelligent pen, draw a parallel line, that is click and drag without releasing the mouse button. Now click, it will ask you for the distance from the first line, so I'll give it as 1.5. Okay, now to shape it, I'll click on the modify tool, bring this point down here, then give it a smooth curve. Okay, This looks fine. One last thing is to measure the armhole curve, for which I'll be using this compare length tool. Click on the curve and a box appears. You can keep it aside, click and drag. Now you see the selected part has changed color. I'll click both the curves, back and front, and the total shows as 17.89. I want it to be 18.5, that is 1.5 inches more than the body measurement. So to increase it, to increase the curves, what we can do is click on the modify tool, select this point, enter, and in x-axis you can decide how lower you want to take it. I'll take it by 0.5 inches, as half an inch, and it will show me the measurement here, the new measurement, or I'll take it as 0.6. Okay, now the shape is a little distorted, so I'll have to reshape it. For that, again, modify tool, okay, fits fine. You can leave it there, or if you want to reduce the curve, again it's the same, modify tool, select this point, enter, and then you can give minus value here so that the curve goes up. Now I'll cancel this. Okay, now this is called design line. There is the initial work you do with back, front, everything together. Now you need to separate the back and fronts from this, which is the pattern. So how to separate? For that you need to click on the forfex tool, or the tool with the scissor symbol, and I'll select all the lines related to the back pattern, that is the back neckline, shoulder, back armhole curve, side seam, bottom hem, and the center. Now you see the back part is highlighted. Now right click the mouse anywhere till you get the menu and click on this move pattern and click and drag and keep this aside. Now we need to separate the front from this design line. So again take the forfex tool, click everything related to the front. As you click, you see the lines are highlighted. Right click and select the move pattern and drag. Now to hide the design line, you can click on this option, display hide design line, and only the patterns will show. You can move this anywhere. So this tool is to view the pattern. Now if you want to see only one pattern, you can select the pattern and click on only display one piece. That is, if you're working on back, for example, you can click on this. So this will zoom and it will show only one piece. Now to select the other piece, there is a front pattern, you can click here. Okay. Now you can flip this pattern by using this tool here, pattern flip, and click. So it's flipped. Now you can see if the armhole curve is nice and smooth by clicking on this compare patchwork tool and click on this point and this point. Now you see it's a nice smooth curve. It should not have any angle here. If it is, then you can correct it at this point. Now it's nice and smooth, so close and you can undo. Okay, now we'll create the sleeves. For that, again we'll be drawing a rectangle using the intelligent pen. Now here I'll give the sleeve length, that is 8 inches, and the width will be half of the arm round or biceps measurement plus ease. So I'll give it as 7.5. Okay. Now why it's not showing? Because we have disabled the design line. So click on it and move this aside. Okay. Now we'll zoom only the sleeve area. I'll click on intelligent pen again. Now I'll click and drag this line to create the cap height. Click and I'll give the cap height as 4.25. Okay. And I'll draw a line connecting from there to the sleeve crown. Again, it's just going in a 45-degree angle. So right click and change and make it flexible and connect here. And right click to complete. Now to shape, you need the modify tool. Click and drag. So I've drawn the front sleeve curve. To draw the back sleeve curve, which will be around half an inch above this, I'll take the pen, click and drag to create a parallel curve at a distance of half an inch. So I've mentioned 0.5. Okay. Now again I'll take the modify tool, bring this point here, bring this point here, and then modify the curve. Okay, now again I'll take the intelligent pen, click and drag a line here. Distance I'll give is 7 inches, that is the sleeve open. Okay, now right click and select the modify tool and bring this point here. Okay, I'll just measure this, and in knit the sleeve curve can be a little lesser than the body's armhole curve. So that was 18.5, so this can be a little lesser. So I'll measure this and see if any changes need to be done. So right click, click on compare length tool. As soon as you click, you get a box with the measurements. So this needs to increase. So either you can lower this, that is increase the cap height, or you can increase the arm round measurement. So I'll increase the arm round measurement. For that I'll click on the modify tool and enter here. So I'll just increase by 1/4 inch and check. It gives me 18.36. This is fine. So I've given 0.30. Okay. I'll use the modify tool again to redraw the curve if needed. Okay, now to see if the back and front sleeve curves are in smooth transition, what you can do is you can use this tool here, symmetry adjust, and click on this line, center line first, then click on either one of the curves, either back or front. I'll click the front. Now you can see the back curve as well as the front curve. If you need to make any changes, you can do by right clicking on this line and moving the points, but this is fine. So I'll leave it as it is. When you click anywhere, it goes off. Now we'll need to open this pattern and make it a full sleeve pattern. For that, we'll use this option. It's called mirror. Click on it and select the line, and then click on the front curve, the side seam line, the bottom hem, and the center line. I'll close this first. Okay. Now I'll take the eraser and delete the front curve here because we have got the front here. So we have got the back and the front here. You can also write something here by clicking on this text tool and back, okay, and front. Okay, so this is again the design line. We need to separate the pattern. For that, again, we'll click on Perfect tool and select all the lines that we need. Right click, use the move pattern tool and move. We'll also make a pattern for the neckband. The neckband can be around 1.5 inch lesser than the neck round here. That is if you're using a self fabric. If you're using a rib fabric which stretches even more, then you can reduce around 2 inches. So let me measure this using the compare length tool. I'll measure the back neckline. This is half of the back neckline. So I'll measure it twice. For that, I'll click on it again. Okay, and then I'll also measure the front twice. The total measurement shows as 19.775. Okay, so I'll draw a rectangle using the intelligent pen. Now it's asking for the measurements. You can use the calculator here. You see the small button, just click on it. Now the neck measurement was 19.7 minus, I want 1.5 inches less, so 1.5, so it's giving me 18.2. okay, and the width I want is double the height of the neckband, that is half inch is what we plan to give, so double of that would be 1 inch. And of course seam allowance will be added to all the patterns later. Okay, now it's not showing because we have hidden the design lines. So click on design line and zoom out and it shows here. Now using the Perfect tool, I'll also select this and keep it aside, and I'll hide the design lines. Okay, so we have got all the pattern pieces needed for this t-shirt. Now let's see how to name these pattern pieces, for which we'll click on this tool. It's called pattern control point, and double click on the pattern that you want to name. Now here you can give the details like pattern name. I'll give my company name and mention women's t-shirt. So SF Studio women's t-shirt. And in the comment you can mention the pattern piece name like its back, and you can give a code for your pattern. For example, I'll give it as SFS001, and material name is you can mention whether it is to be cut in the main fabric or it has to be cut in the lining or interlining. So main fabric is normally referred to as shell fabric, so we give the shortcut as SH. And how many pieces to be cut? 1. Apply and close. I'll zoom this. And you see all the details we mentioned shows here, and also below the grain line it shows the size. Similarly, give the name for all of the pattern pieces, that is for this we'll give as front, for this sleeves, and for this as neckband. Next is, let me zoom this again, we'll add the seam allowance, for which we'll click on this option, add seam, and you can give the seam allowance by selecting the points, or you can select the whole pattern and right click. Now there are many options here, we'll only see this. So click on first options and give the seam allowance here. We'll be finishing this t-shirt in the O-lock machine. So I'll give the seam allowance as 0.375. Okay. Now you can see dotted lines all around this pattern. Now only at the bottom hem I want to change the seam allowance to 1 inch. So I'll select all the points here in this line and right click and give the seam allowance as 1 inch. Okay. Now you see only here the seam allowance has changed to 1 inch. Okay. Now similarly we'll be giving the seam allowance to all the other pattern pieces. Let me show adding the seam allowance to sleeves as well. I'm selecting these points, right click and adding the seam allowance as 0.375. Okay. In the sides I'm adding 1 inch. Okay, same on this side as well, and below also it's 1 inch, but I'll change the style to this, that is the second one. Okay, you see it has given a slant line here which is appropriate when we fold it. Now I'll again take the back pattern. Now this is half pattern. If you want the full pattern to be printed, then what you can do is you can click on this option here, pattern symmetry, and I'll select the first option and I'll select the points where I want the pattern to open. So we want to open the pattern here. So I'll select this point to this point. Now you see the pattern is open, apply, and there are some options here. If you want, you can give notch at the start and end point, and also move the grain line to axis. The grain line is moved to the center here. If you don't want that to happen, you can deselect this. You can remove the tick mark here. I'll keep it and apply. And you see the pattern has opened and the seam allowance added all around. Similarly, I'll do for the front. Name it, open the pattern and add the seam allowance. After this, I'll be printing the pattern on my plotter. Before taking the print out, zoom and check if any point needs to be corrected or if you want to change the shape at the hem of the t-shirt. Only if needed you can do those changes and then save again. As you work, keep saving the file, and first time when you save the file it will ask for the name. So I'm saving the file now. File, save as. I've done a folder called CAD projects in my name, and then another folder, women's t-shirt. So I've given this name. You can give any name and then click on save. When you buy the Richpeace CAD software, you get all these 4 softwares that you see here. Now DGS is the one we use to draft the pattern, and GMS is used now to make the marker, and here you can also set the paper size and width, etc. And this PDS is yet another interesting software which is used to make made to measure patterns. We'll look into this in one of our upcoming videos, and this last one is to take the print in the plotter. Now I'm opening the GMS to make the marker. Click on File, New, and here give the paper width and length. This is in meters. It's mentioned 30. I'll keep it as it is. And then click on OK. And click on Load. Select the same file which was saved earlier. Open. Now it shows all the parts that we created. Now here the sleeve shows us 2. We just need 1 printout. So I'll change the quantity to 1. And here only one size shows, that is large, because that's what we created. If we have done the grading, then all the sizes we created will show here. Then you need to select the size which you want to print. Now as there is only one size, I click on this and click on OK. Now click on the file here, OK. click on piece information, and here give the distance that you want between each pattern. I've given it as 0.5. Now click on nesting, start auto nesting. Now it automatically shows the most efficient way to print the pattern based on the sizes you have given. Now if you want to make any changes, you can click on the pattern and move it, but make sure it is not overlapping each other. Now you see we had given 0.5 inch distance between the two patterns, so there is a distance between each pattern. Once you have arranged, click on plot. There's an option cut piece here, that is, select it if you want the pattern to be cut as it prints. Then click OK. Now click on this and select the file. As soon as you switch on the plotter, you see the status changes to on. Now we are printing using the plotter. You can see here, as it is printing, it's also cutting the pattern. Thanks for watching. In the next part, let's see completing the t-shirt. Happy sewing.